Rain hammered against the neon sign, a rhythmic drumming that mirrored the tension in the air. Leo pushed open the heavy glass door, the diner smelling of stale coffee and grease. He sat opposite Clara, his breath shallow. Without a word, she reached across the table, her fingers brushing a rusted fork. In an instant, the orange decay vanished, replaced by polished, gleaming steel that caught the flickering light. Leo pulled his hand back, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. The power was real, and it was terrifying. Suddenly, the air turned static, vibrating with a high-pitched hum. The diner walls blurred into streaks of gray until Leo was standing on a Boston street corner 3 days earlier. He watched his past self drop the phone, walking away from his family during their worst crisis. "No, wait!" Leo lunged forward to grab his younger self, but his fingers passed through thin air like smoke. Clara gripped his shoulder, her silent gaze pointing at his trembling hands. He had to let go. Leo exhaled, unclenched his fists, and finally stopped reaching for the ghosts of his past. The Boston street dissolved into shadow. They slammed into the future, landing hard on the cold concrete floor of a subway hub. Alarms blared, a screaming siren that pierced the dark, while lights flickered in a rhythmic, dying pulse. Oliver stood by the turnstiles, his eyes darting left and right like a predator. 5 seconds! Oliver barked, his voice cutting through the chaos. He shoved Leo toward a maintenance duct. Atlas was already there, jamming a clockwork device into the relay box with surgical speed. Clara placed both palms against the sparking generator, her eyes closing in concentration. The wires began to age in reverse, smoothing out their frayed insulation as if time were a healing balm. "Now, Leo." Leo grabbed the heavy override lever. He hauled it down with his full weight, muscles straining until the grid finally stabilized. The screaming alarms died down to a low hum, the immediate danger passing as the machinery purred back to life. The final test arrived at midnight. The world fractured into shards of blue light as Leo and Clara stood on a rooftop, the city skyline shivering beneath them. The clock tower began its final chime. Leo looked at Clara, then finally released his grip on the memories of his failures. As the clock struck 12, a golden wave washed over the horizon, dissolving the shadows. Sunlight flooded the room. Leo opened his eyes to the steady hum of Monday morning traffic. He stepped onto the balcony, his team behind him, and walked into the morning.